Hello, hello! Pete's Packs here, and today we are going over the Commander decks from Phyrexia, All Will Be One. So, go ahead and get these opened up. Now I am going to split this into two separate videos, one for each deck. But there is Rebellion Rising and Corrupting Influence. Those are the two decks that we have from this, and as with any that come with the collector's booster sample packs, I will be doing those as a separate video because I do have a full set of 8. So let's switch over to our document cam. And in this one, we will be going over Corrupting Influence. So let's get cracking. Now, Corrupting Influence is the Abzan colored one. And the cover legend is Ixil, Scion of Atraxa. So I'm not sure. Is that as with all commander decks, it comes with, well, all newer commander decks comes with 9 tokens and a divider on the back. They are all punch out. These are foiled, which is something that I think they started doing around Neon Dynasty. I know Neon Dynasty had foil ones. I don't remember if any of the prior ones had foil tokens. But in this one, you get 6 poison counters, 3 -1/-1 counters. And they are all single-sided, foil on one side, raw cardboard on the back. So there is that. Okay. And being Abzan, these are, or this is a white, black, green deck. And I believe it focuses on spreading -1/-1 counters and infect counters, but we'll see when we actually get into it. Yep. Guessing based on the pick your poison that we will be passing around poison counters and infect counters, things along those lines. Infect, of course, doing damage to creatures as neg1 counters and damage to players as poison counters. It does replace the normal damage, so that is its own special bag of tricks. Okay. Keep things nice and clean as we go. Wizards still failing on their deck box construction. They keep using a glue that's not terribly good. So it's the whole thing. We have our collector sample booster, which we will put over in a safe place to open as a batch later on. Sample boosters, of course, being non-retail, kind of hard to get without buying the actual decks. Let's see, then we get the standard wedge counter. This one just has a planeswalker symbol on it, which is kind of interesting that they just went with that instead of the Phyrexian symbols. Then we have a folded insert that has an overview of the deck with Ixil or Ixil in there. a little brief overview of how to play Commander, then a more detailed overview, and then action shot of Ixal. I guess depending on the language, it could even be I shall. So, could be a thing. So depending on if it makes the K sound or the CH sound or the SH sound, there's a few different sounds that X can make based on what language the name has its origin in or what region. Our poster card is Ixal, Scion of Atraxa. So it has Flying, Vigilance, Toxic 2, which is a lot of keywords, and then Corrupted. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters exiles the top card of his or her library, or top card of their library. They've switched it to their from his or her. Face down, you may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. You may spend mana as though they were mana of any color to cast those spells. Oh, that's interesting. Then we have, as an alternate commander, Vishgraz, the Doom Hive, which has Menace, Toxic 1, for 5-drop at a 3/3. When Vishgraz the Doom Hive enters the battlefield, create 3 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Vishgraz gets +1/+1 for each poison counter your opponents have. Okay. Ooh. Starting things off, we have a very nice reprint in Ghostly Prison. Had crept up quite a bit. If you play Commander, you likely know what Ghostly Prison does, but creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. We have Grateful Apparition, Bilious Skulldweller, which is from Phyrexia All Is One. We have Blightbelly Rat, which is also from Phyrexia All Is One. And a nice reprinted Swords to Plowshares, a Commander staple. Caress of Phyrexia. 5-mana sorcery. Target player draws 3 cards, loses 3 life, and gets 3 poison counters. Okay. We have Ichor Rats, which is a reprint from, I believe, New Phyrexia. Either Scars of Mirrodin or New Phyrexia. When it enters the battlefield, each player gets a poison counter, and then it has Infect. 2/1 for 3. Feed the Infection. You draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. Corrupted, each opponent has 3 or more poison counters, loses 3 life. For 4 mana on a sorcery. We have Night's Whisper. Draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Plague Stinger. Flying Infect for 1 and a black. That's a 1/1. Infectious Inquiry. You draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Each opponent gets a poison counter. That is from Phyrexia All Is One. Pestilent Siphoner, also from Phyrexia All Is One. Flying Toxic 1, 1/1 for 2. Very similar to Plague Stinger. Oh, and then we get a reprint of Beast Within, which was from New Phyrexia originally. One of the best removal spells in green. So you just straight up destroy target permanent. Its controller gets a 3/3 green beast creature token. We have another New Phyrexia reprint with Blight Mamba. It's a 1/1 infect for 1 and a green with 1 and a green regenerate. It is a keyword we have not seen in quite a while. They largely moved away from printing regenerate creatures a few years ago because some people are a little confused by how regenerate works. We have Carrion Call. Create 2 1/1 green Phyrexian insect creature tokens with Infect. I believe that is also a reprint. If Cultivate, I mean, many of these are going to be reprints. I believe that is a reprint from Phyrexia. If Cultivate, classic ramp card, Evolution Sage, one of the better proliferators that have been printed. Landfall, you proliferate. Mycosynth Fiend gets +1/+1 for each poison counter your opponents have. Noxious Revival, alright, for Phyrexian Green, put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library. Really useful for rebuying permanents, or rebuying spells from the graveyard. It is effectively a free spell because of the Phyrexian mana cost, and can also be used to shut down other people's win conditions, potentially. Or, to hose other things. Vet Emergence. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Proliferate for 4 and a black. Radiant Corruptor, also reprinted from New Phyrexia. It's a 1 green, Infect, or 2/2 with Infect. And when it comes into play, destroy target artifact. Vraska's Fall. 2 and a black. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and gets a poison counter. That is from Phyrexia All is One. Moldervine Reclamation. Whenever a creature you control dies, you gain a life and draw a card. Mortify. Great piece of removal. Destroy target creature enchantment for 1 white and a black. And then its sibling, Putrefy. Both were printed, or the two were printed not necessarily side by side, but in a cycle of utility cards for each of the guilds in the original Ravnica block. Putrefy being the Golgari one, Mortify being the Orzhov one. Putrefy hitting creatures or artifacts and prevents regeneration. We have the Commander Staple, Arcane Signet, Commander Sphere, then a nice reprint of Contagion Clasp, which is a good proliferate enabler. We have Norn's Choirmaster. I'm not familiar with this one. So for 3 white, flying first strike, whenever a commander you control enters the battlefield or attacks, proliferate. Wow, that's a 5/4 for 5. Flying in first strike. We have Norn's Decree. We did pull a few of these from our collector's boxes. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls deals combat damage to you, that opponent gets a poison counter. Whenever a player attacks, if one or more players being attacked are poisoned, the attacking player draws a card. Okay, then we have Geth's Summons. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And Corrupted for each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters. As you cast a spell, put up to 1 target creature from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Now that can get out of hand very quickly. Phyrexia's Outbreak. 2 and a black, sorcery. Each opponent gets a poison counter, then each creature your opponents control gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each poison counter its controller has. Wow. That is a potentially very powerful piece of removal. We have Contaminant Grafter, 4 and a green. Trample Toxic 1. Whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to one or more players, proliferate. Wow. And then Corrupted at the beginning of your end step, and if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, one moment. If an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Whoa. That could be very, very powerful very quickly. Glissa's Retriever, 5 and a green. Haste Toxic 3. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Corrupted. When it dies, exile it. When you do, return up to X target cards from your graveyard to your hand, where X is the number of opponents who have 3 or more poison counters. Jeez. We have Wormquake. Corrupted. Get a XX green Phyrexian Worm creature token with Trample and Toxic 1, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast a spell. Then for each opponent with 3 or more poison counters, you create another one of those tokens. Whoa. So it creates at least a 6/6 Toxic 1 with Trample. It can create 10/10s when you flash it back. That is nuts. I have Glistening Sphere. Comes into play tapped. When it comes into play, Proliferate. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Corrupted. Tap, add 3 mana of any one color. Activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Wow. I have good old Fumigate from Kaladesh. 3 white, destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. Then we have Norn's Annex, also from New Phyrexia. Creatures can't attack you or players you control unless their controller pays Phyrexian white for each of those creatures. So that actually goes along with Ghostly Prison. You have Phyrexian Rebirth, again, reprint from New Phyrexia. Destroy all creatures, then create an XX colorless Phyrexian Horror artifact creature token where X is the number of creatures destroyed this way for 6 mana. Windborn Muse, originally from Legions. And then 3 and a white, you get a flying 2/3 with Ghostly Prison as its effect. Painful Truths, reprint from Rise of not Zendikar Rising. Not Oath of the Gatewatch. Whichever one. The second time we went to Zendikar, not the third. With Converge, Phyrexian Swarmlord. Infect, at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 green Phyrexian insect creature token with Infect for each poison counter your opponents have. Okay, I think that was a reprint from New Phyrexia. Then we have good old Scoozy Boy. A sideboard staple in multiple formats. And a main deck staple in a few. Culling Ritual. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Add black or green for each permanent destroyed this way. I believe this was from Strixhaven originally. Then Merciless Eviction. This was RTR, I think. Return to Ravnica originally. Chromatic Lantern, originally from Return to Ravnica. One of the best mana rocks ever printed. Turns all your lands into multi-lands. We get good old Canopy Vista, Exotic Orchard, Fortified Village, Karn's Bastion with a new art, Necroblossom Snarl. Okay. It's of course one of the snarls from Strixhaven. Then we have Shine Shadow Snarl, Sungrass Prairie, one of the filter lands originally from Odyssey, Temple of Malady, Temple of Plenty, Temple of Silence, Felwar Stone, getting a reprint in black border, very nice. Golgari Signet, Grafted Exoskeleton. A crafted creature gets +2/+2 and has Infect. When it becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice that permanent. Anchorclaw Mirror, Infect, 1/1 Infect for 2. When it gets blocked, it gets +2/+2. Plague Mirror, 2 mana Infect, or 2 mana 1/1 with Infect, has tap, add a colorless. Good old Soul Ring. Trailblazer's Boots. Equipped creature has non-basic land walk. That is interesting. see that being very good. Then Bajuka Bog. Nice. That needed a reprint. One of the best graveyard hosing lands, or one of the best graveyard hosers ever printed, and it's the land. Command Tower Verge. One of these semi-fetches. Myriad Landscape, another semi-fetch. Path of Ancestry, Cankerbloom. This is reprinted from Phyrexia All Is One. Or is from Phyrexia All Is One. Sandstep Citadel. Tainted Field. Expand the Sphere. This is also new from Phyrexia All Is One. Tainted Wood. Noxious Assault. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. Which is very, very gross. Unnatural Restoration, also from Phyrexia All Is One. Venomous Brutalizer, also from Phyrexia All Is One. Okay. It's a Toxic 3. It's a 4/4 for 4 with Toxic 3. When it comes into play, you may pay 2 if you do Proliferate. Wow. Mirror Convert from Phyrexia All Is One. Phyrexian Atlas from Phyrexia All Is One. We get some planes that are on theme from All Will Be One. Same for the swamps. And the forests. Some matching number of those. Then we have the extra thick etched foil showcase version of Exile. Poison counter, or a set of 4 poison counter tokens. Phyrexian Worms, Phyrexian Mites, and then turn reminder. Then on the back we have Phyrexian Insects with Infect, Phyrexian Horror, Beast, and more Phyrexian Mites. Alright, very cool. That was the... I've already forgotten the name of it, because I'm bad at names. That is the wrong set. It is Corrupting Influence Commander deck for Phyrexia All Will Be One Commander. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. We have started doing live streams. I'm trying to do one each weekday. I'm not going to commit to that at the moment. I have been mostly testing those. Eventually, I will settle on a schedule for streaming throughout the week. And along with that, we will be doing Rip and Chips. It has been very heavily requested. I've had about 30 different people ask me about it between streaming and messaging on other platforms. Also, I have added a channel email. So if you need to get in touch with me for business inquiries or any number of other things, that is on the channel info page. So yeah, we have streams that are going to be going on. If you like what we're doing here and want to support the channel, best thing you can do is subscribe if you're not, and like and comment if you are. Eventually I'll have the Patreon set up, so you can go through that if you want to. But yeah, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, stay awesome, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.